Renardo, can you hear us?
Good, Tom Dean. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. But now the lady was talking to you and now you're ignoring her, which is, she's resenting you for that. So you have to apologize first.
With my good friend, Tom Dean, once again, it's so good to communicate with my friends in Yaoundé from here in Philadelphia. And I'm so glad and honored to see the presence of His Excellency Dr. Charles BINAM once again. As Charles told me that I was the member of Cerdotola for life after Malefi and I attended a couple years ago. I'm glad to see you all in good health. My topic today is what effectively communicates our philosophies, our ways of life, thinking, politics, our values most effectively. Next slide, please. Understanding Afrofuturism. Recently, we have been doing a lot of work here the last 10 years in reconceptualizing Afrofuturism for the 21st century. And so we talk about it as a meta-modern philosophy that takes the best of the past and combines it with the present to determine our future. So we explore elements of how this culture and technology contribute to a futuristic vision. How do we take concepts of African diaspora, African folklore and mythology, and bring it into our practice in terms of how do African people live, compete, and thrive in an emerging multipolar world, because the unipolar world that the United States led from 1945 until the present is slowly unraveling, and Africa has to embrace the new technology in its own interest in terms of how it deals with cinema, education, the humanities, social sciences, and every sphere of life over the next 10 years. Okay, what is ancestral intelligence? We're talking about how the knowledge of our ancestors informs our contemporary cultural practice. As you all know, a lot of traditional ways of thinking are under threat because of the rapid explosion in technology, as people move away from rural areas to the city, mass migration. So we have to act now to archive all of these traditions and knowledge for our prosperity in order to understand how we got to this moment and where people of African descent need to go. And it's going to be very important for preservation and innovation.
Renardo, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Whether they're in Europe or in Asia,
Renardo, can you hear me?
artists, the writers, or even strategists are drawing upon their cultural tradition to craft a way forward for their societies. Now, where does artificial intelligence and film come in? There are three aspects that is coming in right now rapidly, particularly in pre-production with script writing, and post-production with special effects, and video restoration. Anybody working in the creative industry now is going to have to be augmented with AI within the next year or two, and here's why. At the United Nations a few weeks ago, when we made our presentation, we were informed that within a year, hostile agents, primarily with platforms from Central Asia, are going to be using AI to make deep fake cinema or deep fake videos targeting African populations. And in particular, in the diaspora, the deep fake AIs are going to be used to target African women. Because African women usually have the most solidarity around politics and a lot of community activism. So deep fakes with AI are going to be used to target different sections of the diaspora. Also, it has implications of how people will use deep fakes and AI in short films and cinema to target African populations on the continent, inciting ethnic conflict. Because Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter, said recently, within 5 years, people will not be able to tell the difference between what is real and what is not real. So the ethical considerations are this. I know the Americans, the European Union, and the United Nations recently adopted an ethical platform in relation to artificial intelligence. Cameroon, Cerdotola, and the African Union is going to have to decide which way are they going to incorporate ethics in relation to AI for their own societies. The Afrofuturist scholar Alondra Nelson, who was a member of the Biden administration, recently helped to develop the American ethical framework for artificial intelligence. The Europeans are probably leading the way at the moment, and the Chinese-led order is still somewhat undefined at the moment. So Africa is in the crosshairs of how AI is going to impact its creative industries and its production. However, the fusion of Afrofuturism and ancestral intelligence is going to create a cultural synthesis that will lead to some innovation in terms of Afrocentric narratives for the future that will be inspired by African history. For example, if we look at Cheikh Anta Diop's work, how would his philosophy interact with artificial intelligence in terms of our creative industries? Here at Temple University, we have recently concluded an agreement where all of the dissertations that the Department of Africology has produced are now a part of an African-American owned AI company called Latimer, because we need to have our own artificial intelligence platforms in order for our people to discern history from deep fake information. And as swiftly as possible, the members of states of Cerdotola and the African Union need to archive and take control of their innovation and decide which platforms that they are going to work with that will then influence their creative industries and character and world building that reflect your own traditions and aesthetics. When I think of Cameroon, and I talked to the Cameroonian filmmaker Jean-Pierre Bokolo, who is a well-known Afrofuturist filmmaker who lives in Cameroon, there are some young people in Cameroon that are really moving in this area. Jean-Pierre Bokolo, Nicola Blondel of Yaoundé, who's I know working with the Goethe Institute now. And so these will lead to some potential projects that would not previously be possible in Cameroon because of costs and production costs. For example, the $200+ million it costs to make the movie Avatar. By the end of next year, that same film could probably be made with AI for about 3 to 5 million American dollars. And that is how inexpensive it will cost to produce feature-length film. Currently, the young filmmaker David Kirkman's film Underneath, which is an Afrocentric, Afrofuturist film, will be premiering in Amsterdam in December. So the technology is moving rapidly, and roughly every 6 months, different AI technology in relation to the creative industry and filmmaking is being beta tested now to see which one will win out. In addition, for the film industry and creative industry, you're going to have to start thinking about energy. I know Microsoft, they're now moving into nuclear. They're reopening the old nuclear plant here in Pennsylvania so that they have enough power to animate the AI and support the AI industry here in the United States. So access to energy and power will also be necessary for creative people in Yaoundé or Douala to participate in the industry, and for the member states of Cerdotola and their creatives to participate in the growing AI cinematic sphere. Thank you so much for listening to me, and Jean Dean will translate for me. I'm open to any questions. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.